What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel Unconformed. Very excited. And what a match. A good start, honestly, a very good start to our Champions League campaign. And we can't be too upset about that one. A bit of a rocky start for sure in the beginning of that match, but we were able to turn it around and really play like what we thought we were going to be playing like honestly throughout the first three games, right? So those are the things that you love to see as a Liverpool fan. And let me see, are we live? We gotta be. Hold on. We are live, are we not? Are we? Yes. Boom. There we go. Okay. I am all over the place. But anyway, appreciate everybody for jumping in. For anybody who decides to jump in, of course, this episode will be 100% available right after we get done with this. And just making sure that my software is working appropriately here, man, because it's showing that we're live, but I'm not sure. It's not showing in YouTube, which it typically does. But anyway, couldn't ask for more. That's so true, Mr. Stand Up. And it was a great performance. It reminded me of those three games that we ran, right? Before the international break, before things got a little bit messy, before things got a little bit sticky. And you really cannot ask for anything more than what we were than what we got, right? So hold on one second, guys. Let me fix this stream really quick. Okay, boom, there we go. We're in there. Yes, sir. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being patient with me here. So really excited about this result, and really just loved the fact that we were able to bounce back like I knew we would. I knew we would get a result, but it was a little bit. I'd say it was a little shaky in the beginning, and I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was very nervous after that first goal went in, and a lot of people are like, "Oh man, what is Slot doing picking Costas in a big game like this?" And I think he repaid Arne Slot's faith. I think Costas Tsimikas repaid Arne Slot's faith. And you really love to see players step up. You really love to see players bounce back, and they have comeback performances. And the fact that Szoboszlai responded the way that he responded, right? The way that he came back and had an amazing game on top of Ryan Gravenberch. Yep, Ryan played great today, 100%. Was really great. I loved seeing that response from our boys. I loved seeing that response from our boys. I loved seeing the fact that when the manager is demanding more, right? When the manager is asking for more, it is it's heard by the players, and the players respond to it, right? And I absolutely love the fact that Ryan is doing what he's doing and Sabo is doing what he's doing. Mainly Saboslai, because it's easy for a player to get called out by the coach, right? Especially when maybe they had an off game, when they've had a series of good games, and actually do something about it, right? And actually perform the following game, right? So it was a great result. Shout out to Joe Gomez for sure for making his first appearance under Arne Slot. I thought he was going to be, I thought he was going to be in the locked away in the Liverpool cellar for a little bit, just because I knew he was angling for a move away. I knew that he was maybe looking for on his like he was on his way out, but here we are. He's in for this AC Milan game, and it's just so good to see our boys, man. It's so good to see our boys back in the Champions League. By the way, let's not forget that back in the Champions League, back playing in Milan of all places, right? It's so poetic, and I just loved everything that I saw today. Everything past the first 20 minutes, and you really cannot ask for much more from this team. One big standout for me was the set pieces. The weird Arne Slot set pieces are finally working. The weird Arne Slot set pieces are finally working. And standing in front of the goalkeeper and crowding around, and I'm seeing what the whole point of that whole thing is, right? Of crowding the goalkeeper, making him nervous, making him doubt himself if he wants to go out and get some of these balls that are played into the box from corners. And we have some of the best players in the world that can do that with Sabasly, with Alexander-Arnold, and of course, now Simicas, right? And it paid off big time. It paid off big time. And Gakpo did have a standout game calling. He is sending a very, very clear message to Arne Slot that, like, nah, I'm him. I'm him. You know what I mean? Like, and this is the Gakpo that I knew would eventually show up for Liverpool, right? This is the Gakpo that I knew that would eventually show up for Liverpool and start performing. And he looked he was the best player on the pitch today. If you really want to be honest there. For me, he was my man of the match. He was my player of the match. He created everything. Unfortunately, did not get the goal or the assist and probably should have. But just an outstanding performance by Cody Gakpo, and you cannot ask for more. It's the things, he does all of those things that you want Luis Diaz to do, right? He does all of those things that you want Luis Diaz to do. Be direct. Don't waste any movement. Drive the line. Put dangerous crosses into the box. And when you get an opportunity to shoot, try to bury it. That's it, right? He does the basics so well. And the way that on that break that set up the Sabasala goal, the way that he slowed down and then accelerated past the defender, you can't teach that stuff. Because a lot of wingers, they try to beat their defender off the dribble, right? And then they try to outrun their defender. No, Gakpo said, we're going on a roller coaster ride. Come on, follow me. So we're going to go here. Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to go back. Nope. And then we're going to go forward. That's beautiful movement. That's beautiful stuff. And a long may it continue for Cody because he deserves it. And I've said for a long time, if you followed this channel for any amount of time, you know how much how highly I rate Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo is one of those players that could be, and this may be a little crazy, but he could be Mbappe level for me. When we got him, he was putting up Mbappe numbers on international duty and for club. And I get it. It's the Eredivisie. He was playing for PSV. But those numbers continued when he came to Liverpool, which people don't even understand. That same season when he came in January, he continued to produce those numbers. And I think in that first season, he finished with like 20 goals and 20 assists. He finished with like 20 goals and 20 assists in that season. And I think he was like, I think he's just ready. He's ready for prime time. He's ready for prime time. He's like, Arne, I'm the man on the left wing. That's one of the best performances that I've seen in a long time for a winger. I mean, he took over that game and was just like, let's do this. I think, yeah, Mr. Stand Up, I think he can be Mbappe level if he can get consistent. That's the thing with Cody Gakpo. If he can get consistent, he can get to those levels. Will he ever get to those levels? Probably not. Is it possible? Absolutely. So there's some players that's like, it's possible for them to be a generational talent. It's possible for them to reach those heights in terms of world-class talent status. And then there's some players that's out of their realm of reach, right? You look at guys like a Joe Gomez or something like that, or you look at who's a winger that you could look at as like, oh, he's good, but he'll never be at that level. I don't know. You guys maybe throw some down in the chat that's like, oh, he's a good winger, but he's never reaching like a Mo Salah level or an Mbappe level or a Vinny Jr. level, right? I think Gakpo is weirdly one of those guys. When he puts everything together, he can be at that level. When he puts everything together. And I thought, I mean, I don't know, I don't even know if you guys remember this. When we first bought him, we thought he was going to be on that level. And it was an opportunity signing. And we were fully stocked in forwards, remember? And we were like, what's up? Why are we even going for him? But he had a fantastic, I believe it was a World Cup that he had. Fantastic World Cup that he had. And we just made a move for him, right? And he's just absolutely exploded over the summer. It didn't carry over into the season, sadly, because he was coming off the bench a lot. But I think he made a statement today and said, Arne, I need to start in this team. I got to start in this team. You're not, Luis Diaz is good, but I'm better. Right? And he was a January purchase. Yep. Which is one of those few January purchases that actually end up panning out. Right? Dan, good to see you, man. Dan is in the chat. He also does Liverpool content as well. When we're done with this stream, definitely check his stuff out. But he says Slot definitely put your guy Dom in a positive position today. He did. And I love the fact that Dom actually answered the call. The manager challenged him and he answered the call today. He was a little bit anonymous in that first half. A little anonymous in that first 20, 30 minutes, but continued to grow into the game. And then it started to look easy. It started to look easy for him and Cody Gakpo today. They made playing football look very, very easy today. And I just absolutely loved the response. We stayed calm. Yep, exactly, Dan. We stayed calm. We stayed collected. Even after conceding in those first few minutes, I didn't stay calm and collected. Let's be really honest there. I started to freak out and I was like, oh shit. Here we go. Here we go again. I started thinking like, did we pick the right manager? Is he an overthinker? Is he about to break this Liverpool's eye? You know what I mean? Like I started doubting. I ain't even gonna lie. And then we stayed calm. Dude, Nigel, my apologies for that one. Let's definitely not sleep on Maka. Maka has low-key been one of our most important players, probably all season. And Milan couldn't touch him all game. They couldn't touch him all game. Maka, if we had a Maka cam, we'd be talking about a different conversation right now, who the man of the match was. They couldn't get near this guy all game. I was watching him, bro. And he was a key because Milan was playing in that 4-2-4 kind of defensive setup, pushed really high. They pretty much had like a first line of defense. Pretty much like, I want to say maybe 10 or 15 yards out of our own penalty box. And it was hard to play passes through. And Maka started dropping in deep to pick up the ball and move the ball past that first line of defense. And that was so important because I was really worried about how high they were pressing. And I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to play out of the back like I know Arne Slot wants us to. And I was like, dude, this style may not work with a press-heavy team that's willing to get after it. And I think if Milan was just a little bit more, they stuck to their game plan a little bit more, I think we could have probably had a more competitive game because it was working. It was working. But Maka was the key to unlock the rest of that midfield, to give us more space, to bring Ryan back into the game, because I think he was a little quiet in that first half. Second half was outstanding. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people calling him Rude Hulit Jr. They're calling him Rude Hulit Jr. on X. And I don't disagree with it. I think that midfield too is going to be really, really hard to break down and beat for teams. The remedy, I think, to Arne Slot's setup and the way that he does things is to play an extremely defensive style of play. And if you can do that, I think you can stop an Arne Slot team. But if you don't do that, you're in for a long night, as you can see. So Mo Salah is another guy that we want to talk about for sure. Mo Salah probably should have had a hat trick today. Let's be honest. My boy looked really good. He responded. He bounced back. He's telling us that that game at Nottingham was just a one off for us, right? And that he is back. He is very unlucky to not at least have one goal tonight. And they looked great. Gakpo, and the only thing that I have issue with is Diogo Jota. He had some really good chances to bury this game and didn't. And man, I don't know. And I feel like Nunes maybe should have got the nod for this game. I feel like Nunes maybe should have started this game. He's another one of those players, and I mentioned in my last video that they don't do well coming off the bench. Him and Cody Gakpo are starter type of players. They need time to get into the game. Bayern scored 9 goals. I didn't even see that. Last time I checked that score, Bayern was 3-0 up. What the hell did I miss? What the hell did I miss, bruh? What did I miss? And Nunes to start at the weekend. Let's hope that he does. Let's hope that he does start at the weekend. I think he needs a start to get his confidence back going. And I think we still got a player there. I don't think we give up on him just yet. Harry Kane had 4 goals. What a monster. And that's the thing about Harry Kane. He'll finish the ball for you. He'll put the ball in the back of the net. He just needs somebody to go to bring the hand deliver the ball to him. Supreme finisher, an OG type of finisher where you put the ball in the box, don't worry about anything else. It's going back in the back of the net. Oh, it's 3 pins. Oh my word. Yeah, no, 3 penalties is insane. Probably one of the best penalty takers in the world right now. But 3 pins is a completely different thing. But yeah. And I heard Michael Elise also scored, which is unfortunate because I really like him. But yep, AKM, LFC, like you said, he looks clunky with the other players because he isn't getting enough game time with the other players. And it's so true. It's so true with Darwin. He's one of those players that needs rhythm. Like that stretch where he was just on fire, and he racked up most of his goals and assists for Klopp last season. Is that he was starting week in, week out, week in, week out when Diogo Jota was injured, and that's when we got the best from him. And he needs the same thing. He's not one of those players that you can just bring off the bench. Hopefully, he provides a spark. He's done it before, right, with the whole Newcastle game and all those things, that epic comeback. But I don't think he's that type of player where you can just bring him on dry and just expect him to do something. He tracked back and made some good tackles today. And maybe he is a DM. I don't know. I saw somebody say that Nunes would be a better DM because they did that whole experiment with Jailton, I think, who is a Newcastle player who was a forward before he was a midfielder. But I don't like that idea at all. But Madrid, yes, Madrid do look a little shaky. I think if we play Madrid like they are, we have a great chance of getting them again. I think so too. And I've been keeping tabs on them pretty much throughout the entire season, and they've pretty much have looked like that for the majority of this season. Disjointed, things aren't really clicking. I don't know if Jude Bellingham is back just yet. But if they're to be got, right now is the best time to get them. If they're to be got, right now is the best time to get Madrid. And thankfully, we do have them right now. But then again, I maybe I'm just traumatized or something from the past few meetings that we've had with them. It's hard for me to write them off. Madrid always decide to find a way. They always decide to put in one of either their best performance or the just good enough performance against us. And we always end up getting screwed, man. We always end up getting screwed against this team. I can see Mbappe. Oh, Jude started today. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. But I can see Mbappe having a good game randomly. Finally putting it together and having a good game against us. And we're just like, damn, okay, you were bad the entire season all the way up until now. So we'll see. Madrid is away. It's true. We're at the Bernabeu. So that's going to be another layer to it. but they haven't been great this season. Let me see. Let me look at what's Madrid's what's their record this season. So this season they are 3-2 and 0. They're still undefeated. But from what I understand, they haven't been super convincing in a lot of those games, right? So we'll see what happens. We will see. But this is the perfect start. This is the perfect start that you would want as a Liverpool fan. Perfect start. Mbappe is having the Mbappe effect. He always wants to be the main man at Real Madrid and causes resentment. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Mainly because, from what I understand, Mbappe is a great teammate. From what I've heard that he is a really fun guy to be around, and he's actually not super duper bratty like that, like the media kind of paints him out to be. So I'm wondering what happens there, and like what's really going on behind the scenes. Is it really the other guys who don't want to play second fiddle, and Mbappe just knows how good he is and would like, most of those chances? But I don't know. We will see with Mbappe if this whole Mbappe experiment even works, because you got all these extremely talented players. You got players like Endrick. You got players like Arda Güler, who I believe is probably the best out of all of those young players that they have, and deserves way more time than he does get. I think Arda Güler is one of the most naturally talented players that we have in the world right now. Reminds me a whole ton of Mesut Ozil, way that he plays, but has a freaking left foot from hell, can hit it from anywhere, can drop the ball on a dime from literally anywhere on the field. And if I was Carlo Ancelotti, I'd be giving that kid way more time than I'd be giving Endrick. That's for damn sure. But hopefully he doesn't, so we can go swoop him and we can get him as a Mo Salah replacement. That's how highly I rate Arda Güler. Arda Güler is a very, very good player. But Madrid is at Anfield. We're in luck. Let's go. Let's go. But shit, the last time we were at Anfield, man, they actually ran it. But we have to be in full voice. We have to fix the atmosphere at Anfield when they come. And Madrid has to feel like they're drowning at Anfield, right? But Barca is a very good, looks good. Hansi Flick has got them back, man. They're spawning talented kids just like out of nowhere. And I'm glad that you bring that up, stand up, because I was looking at something on X, and I was just like, somebody was like, Barca is probably one of the only teams that I've seen um benefit from being in a really bad transfer spot, because they just keep spawning these like extremely talented youth kids. And I think that brings the attention of what's the point of a youth academy, right? What's the point of bringing in young players? Is it to sell them off once they become valuable to make 100% profit? Or is it to actually save you money in the transfer window so you don't have to go digging and buying new players every single summer, a la Chelsea, right? So it's a little bit different. And I think it's true that that whole thing has benefited Barcelona because they've been forced to actually pay attention to their academy, which we all know is one of the best in the world, right? And I saw Cesc Fabregas make a mention. He was just like, at Arsenal, that was a priority for Arsene Wenger, and that's why we had so many great young players. That's not the case in modern football anymore. Everything is buy, 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 buy. And it's just like, what if we can get back to a moment where we do develop young players, where we trust the local lads and we trust that they'll become world class? I mean, you can even look at Manchester United's academy, who haven't really produced a talent since the Beckham, the Gary Neville, the Keane, the Scholes, the Giggs days, right? Where that whole group of academy players that came out and just changed everything for Manchester United. Why are we not leaning back on youth development more in the modern day than when we did back then? And you can see now that a Barcelona is now taking advantage of that. and it's all beneficial for your club when you promote youth players and you promote young players from within versus going out and buying $100 million forward or buying $100 million midfielder who is incrementally better than the youth kid that's been waiting his turn for the past 3, 4, 5 years. When you can develop the youth kid to become a world class player, right? So Barca have switched their style, far tougher to break down, more direct, less tiki-taka. Barca are a dark horse this season, and it's true. They just keep finding a way to win. I mean, even when Xavi was the manager, they got a league title during that time. And some people say that was like one of the most tumultuous times that Barcelona has ever had, right? So up and down and all around, a whirlwind, problems at the top, problems on the club level. But they still pulled out a title in that time because their youth academy is that good. Their youth academy produced Gavi, right? And in part kind of Pedri. I know Pedri was bought like super young and kind of developed a little bit at their youth academy. But that's what I want to see at Liverpool. I want to continue to see that where we trust the players that we're bringing through our youth ranks. I mean, look at Liverpool, look at us for an example. We have produced one of the best, if not the best, right back in the world and maybe ever from our academy in Trent Alexander-Arnold. And did the same thing with a midfielder that you may all know named Steven Gerrard. Why are we not leaning back on the academy a lot more? And Lamine Yamal is a freaking dog. He's another one of those players that's just like, fuck, bro. He's 18, 19 years old and is just unbelievably, supremely talented. He would be a $200 million player if they were to go and buy a player of that same profile and that same age. He would be Mbappe level type of transfer. He would cost you 150 to 200 million if you went out and bought a Lamine Yamal. Right? So I just don't get why so many clubs are so dead set on finding finished products instead of putting it you know what I mean, putting the resources and the development into the players at the local level. And I think Ashley Cole pushes Trent regarding greatness. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, maybe in terms of things that they've won, but in terms of like personal stats and accolades, I don't think there's a fullback that even gets close to Trent. Not even close. Not even close. Like, I don't know if you saw that stat that I posted the other day of how many assists that he has at this age compared to actual forwards, and not just actual forwards, but like all-time greats like Messi, like Ronaldo, like Thierry Henry. He already has more than all of them at this age, and he's a defender, guys. This is a right back we're talking about, not someone who's always getting into attacking positions. This is a right back. Like, we could be looking at like, and I think we so often we forget how damn good Trent Alexander-Arnold is, and we take that for granted. That by the end of his career, Trent Alexander-Arnold could have like the most assists ever by a defender. I think he already has that stat, right? He could be breaking 200 assists, 300 assists. By the time he decides to hang up the boots, 300 assists for a defender is absolutely ridiculous. Like, that's stuff that you will never ever see ever again. A defender that is that gifted, that has that type of eye for an assist. I'm sorry, man. Trent is that guy. And that it's like, and Jamie Carragher did start as a midfield. It's true. If you guys don't remember that. And guess who else started out as a right back? Steven Gerrard was a right back when he first came into the Liverpool squad. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but Steven Gerrard was a right back. That first goal that he scored was him marauding from right back and banging it in. And that's why I think a lot of people they liken, Trent to Steven Gerrard, mainly because they played in similar positions, have similar gifts. But I think Trent's a little bit different, right? He's not as dynamic, not as athletic. I mean, Stevie could do everything, literally everything that you could do on a football pitch. Stevie could do. You want to score a screamer, he's got you. Pin, he's got you. Free kick, he's got you. You want him to play center back for a little bit, he can do that. Right back, he can do that. Right? Put Stevie at goalkeeper real quick, and we'll see him play some of the best work. He'll probably get an assist from goalkeeper, right? And Dan, absolutely, Trey and Yoni, and he's one that I really want to talk about, and that's what I was kind of building up to a little bit. Is Trey and Yoni could be that Lamine Yamal type of prospect for us. And I like Rio as well. I can't pronounce his last name. Somebody help me out phonetically in the comments. But Rio and Trey, they're the next up at Liverpool right now, who could be these special, special talents that take us beyond the Salah era, that take us beyond the VVD era, right? Beyond the Allison and more of Trent is the main man type of thing. And he has these supreme talents around him that all they got to do is just run and go get it, right? I think Trey is very, very special. And the fact that, and I always think about this because we thought Stefan Bajcetic was special, right? And we thought he was an indispensable type of player where he's going to be the next Xabi Alonso. He's going to be the next big midfielder that we have. And for Trey to stay and not get a loan move, and for Stefan to get a move away and Trey to actually stay is a massive statement. It's a massive statement. I think that's how much this current staff rates Trey, because I thought Stefan Bajcetic was a supreme talent. I think Trey is the next level, and hopefully he gets a run in the League Cup. So yep, exactly. AKM LFC. I think they get a run in the League Cup. I think I can see Trey getting plenty of time in League Cup action, Carabao Cup action, early in the FA Cup. I can see him getting some minutes in, and I think he's going to impress you guys a lot. There was an under-21 match that happened. I want to say like maybe a week or so ago that Dan, I believe it was Dan. No, it was Happily Eggs, an OG to the channel, always has some great takes and contributes. And he played amazing apparently, and I think he's ready for that next leap, because I come from the field of thought that if you are good enough, you're old enough. For me, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and I think he's good enough. So, and then Numoha is how you pronounce it, Nick. What Nick said about Rio Numoha. I love the kid. Extremely fast feet. He's probably going to be a winger, right? Electric off the dribble. And it has one of those gifts where when he runs with the ball doesn't, it's glued to the foot, and I make these comparisons way too much, but it's like the most obvious thing, like a Messi, right? Where Messi dribbles, the ball doesn't go very far, right? Rio has that style of dribbling where when he dribbles, it doesn't go very far, and he runs very quickly with the ball, right? So a special talent that I think we should definitely keep our eye out for. But Federico Chiesa, baby. We got to talk about Chiesa. He didn't get any time. He didn't get much time in. He got like 1 minute and made one touch. But I love the fact that he was able to just kind of get a run out, get some time in, actually sub in, make an appearance. And we will definitely see more of him, I think, probably in these next coming games. I think Arne will definitely continue to rotate the squad. So don't worry about it. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, and they were like hella sad that he barely got a touch in. But I think he'll be a very important player for us this season, especially when we rest Mo Salah moving forward. But I loved everything that I saw today. I loved the fact that Arne is sticking to his guns, staying with his field of thought. I think it's so easy to get swayed by the media, swayed by the fans, and kind of, try to do different stuff when you just do the stuff that works for you, that's gotten you to the dance. Continue to do the things that have gotten you to the dance, because one game is not going to be the deciding factor of whether somebody's cracked your code or figured out how to beat you. Right. So I love the reaction from Arne and the boys, especially Arne tactically fixing it, because Milan tried to use a little bit of Nottingham Forest's tactics after that first goal, but we were able to beat the press, break them down, even in that low block, and open the game up once we got that goal. So it was a good performance by everybody. But Brian here saying the rotation in this game was good. I think Arne sees it now. I think he does too. And I think we're all allotted one off game every once in a while, one off game, one off coaching moment. I think what happened is that Arne thought that this Wolves game was going to be easy. I think he thought it was just going to, be a little bit of a walk in the park, a little bit, and that he can just kind of keep things the same. But I think he's now understanding that every single week, multiple times a week, it is going to be a tough battle, tactical battle, and physical battle on the field, and that he's going to have to bring his best every single time. I think we will see some signings in January. I think Arne is going to see this crazy run of games and think, I'm going to need some backup. I'm going to need some reinforcements, because this next month is going to be super crucial in where our season goes. If we come out and continue to get results like we got today, I think we can be really excited. We can be really excited. So Nick said, surprised that the midfield was unchanged and played 90 again. Surely the medical team won't eject if they were at risk. So they're probably fine. Yes. I think the midfield is good. I think the midfield is healthy. I can see a center back in January for sure. But no, I think the midfield is very healthy. Ryan looks good. He's playing well, and continues to put in performance after performance. Um, Mr. Stand Up guy. My prediction video that I did the other day. I think Ryan will be the best DM in the Premier League this season, and I'm going to continue to stand by that statement. Okay, and I will die on this hill. I think I've seen enough. I've seen enough about after about 4, 5, 6 games, including his international games. This is his position. He was never an eight. He was never a 10. He was always this little hybrid six of all of them, right? And I think that's why, I mean, he mentioned that his number is like he picked 38 because he feels like he's the equivalent of three number eights when he first came in. I remember him saying that. And I think he's right. I think he's right, bruh. This kid is a baller. He looks special. And I was like, oh, this is the game. And in the first half, I was like, this is the game. He gets fraud checked this game. And then he came back in that second half, put in that crucial block, and bossed the midfield. What more can you ask? What more can you ask? So I'm going to jump off. I'm going to do a match breakdown and reaction video here that'll be posting in a few minutes. I appreciate all of you guys for jumping onto the stream. Liverpool versus AC Milan, 3-1 for Liverpool. Anytime that these games fall on Champions League days, I'll be sure to hop on and do a live post-match reaction and chat and discussion with you guys every single week. This will also be available as a podcast as well. So don't forget that on all streaming platforms that you stream your podcast. So if you ever miss this one, you can always pick it back up. So you guys have an amazing day. We'll see you on the next one, and up the